Shalom, Shalom. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Brakatham. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. This brother Yatazdak once again. We're going to go into the Hebrew, right? So, Lord willing, you're edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rakakwadash, Songs of Solomon, chapter 2. And we're going to start at verse 1. So, through the Spirit, right, you receive some understanding. Slakia. So let's get right into it. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to get situated. All right. Let's look at the header of the chapter. Yahweh Shai Brakatham to the 144,000 of the nation of Israel. Starting with the, of course, the 144,000, and then the great multitude that will be delivered out of America, Babylon the Great. After World War III kicks off, martial law, FEMA camps, world economic collapse. The RFID chip is the mark of the beast. Revelation 13:16 says he calls it both small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark in their right hand and in their forehead. We are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. It's talking about you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, as well as some of those that may look like other nations, because we have took women from the other nations and our seed look like other nations. Just to simply explain it. But they're all that same line, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the children of the prophets, right? So the header of the title is The Bride's Admiration. Starts off in verse 1. It says, I am the rose of Sharon, the lily of valleys. Which, let's look at that word, Habtazalath. Strong's H 2261, which is says a flower growing in meadows, with the ancient interpreters sometimes translate lily, sometimes narcissus, narcissus, right? Sometimes rose. Salakia. It says uncertain derivation, probably meadow, saffron rose. Let's look at that. Narcissus. So narcissus is also known as the daffodil, right? Has many meanings and symbolisms that vary by culture, color, and context, right? But generally, it's used to reference a rose. right? Slovakia. I don't know why I got that open. But anyways, let's go back. Uh, so it just means rose. So it reads Anya Habtazalath Ha Sharan Shashanath Ha Imakium. Like Slovakia. Trying to go where I got service. Like the lilies between uh thorns, but that actually means thistles, right? That word means thistles. Strong's H 2336. I believe the word for thorn is tazan. Bramble, thistle, thorn, right? But it means thistle. It's another way to say thorns. Thistle is a thorn bush, right? So it says, so is my companion between the daughters, right? And that companion is the Shulamite. Again, it's the nation of Israel. Sometimes it references the elect. Um, but again, you can read this in the book of Numbers. I believe that's chapter 24, where it says Jacob will dwell amongst the heathen, will not be reckoned, right? Because the nations are the thorns, right? Not only have they been a thorn on our side since this past, because we went off, because the Lord made us go off, right? And you sinned against Yahweh Bashim Shai, right? The daughters, that just means, that's just another way to say the nations, right? So it reads Ka, Shashana, Bayan, Ha, Hakim, Khan, Rayataya, Bayan, Habanath. Verse 3, like the apple among the trees of the forest, so is my beloved between, or betwixt the sons, or here it's translated as among the sons. Um, says under his under his shadow I have I lighted, or in his shadow I have lighted, right? Because this is Solomon, um, essentially um, uh, proclaiming his position, right, under the Most High. Uh, but it also speaks about how Yahweh Shemel Shai chose the nation of Israel, right, among all the nations, right? Like it says in the book of Second Esdras, right? Thou hast chosen one lily, one valley, one plain, one land, right? Which is Jerusalem, right? So it says, right. So when you talk about when you say you're in somebody's shadow, that means they're you're under their glory, and they're, they got the preeminence, right? But this is twofold because, right, Yahushua came as Isaac, right? He was reincarnated as Solomon, and so he also was amongst the nation of Israel, right? Not only was he the savior, called and spoken of throughout the book as the savior of the nation of Israel, right? He also came in various incarnations, like Samson, so on and so forth. Adam, right? The second Adam is Yahweh Shai in his glory. So it says, and I sat down and have and his fruit was sweet to my taste. Lahak, or the root is hak, just means the roof of the tongue, the palat. Not sure if I said that right, but that's where you taste your food. You get the taste of your food, right? The Book of Job says one knows how to discern the mind of a man, like one discerns food. You know, so by one speech, what is genuine and what isn't, right? That's also in the Book of Sirach. It says a man is known by his speech, right? Something to that effect. So it reads, Ka tapach ba itaziyah hayar kan dadya bayan habanyan batazal 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 batazalwa hamataya waya shabathya waparyawa mathak la lachakya. And Hanukkah starts November 2nd, just a heads down, 25th. So again, that's just talking about the nation of Israel, right? And how the Lord chose the nation of Israel, right? So there's Yahweh Shai, as Solomon talking about Shulamite, talking about the nation of Israel. But there's also the Most High, right, speaking through Solomon, speaking about Yahweh Shai as his beloved, right? And he's making Solomon proclaim the Most High um, as the one he is under. That's why he said the Lord put it in Solomon's spirit to say, I sat down under his shadow with great delight, and his fruit was sweet to my taste. That is the doctrine of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. Right? Like I said in the previous chapter, right? The, uh, the, the nations in time past always had codified laws and customs and manners, but the difference between Israel's law, customs, and manners and the nations is that the Lord gave a divine law, right? Which prophesied of the things to come, right? Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 4. Salakia. Reads, He brought me unto the house of wine, and his banner over me was love. Right? But you can go back to Genesis chapter 1, right? John chapter 1. The Lord created the Word, right? The Word was manifest as Yahweh Shai, right? In creation, right? You have Yahweh Shai, you have the Most High, created Yahweh Shai. You have the Alahayim, which are the holy angels, right? In the creation. And then they created man in their image. They said, let us create man in our image. Right? So it wasn't singular, it was right? It was more than one person. But it was all blueprinted by the Most High. Yahweh Shai just was the foreman of sorts. Right? Every job site has a foreman. They look at the blueprints, the plans, and then they build it accordingly. Then you got the workmen, right? So Yahweh Shai right was chosen since the beginning, just like the elect, right? And that would be our same sentiment today, right? To be brought in the house of banqueting. King David said in the book of Psalms that thou hast prepared a table before me in front of my enemies, right? Meaning the truth was manifest in these latter days, starting with our elders and apostles, a great millstone, right? That's why we give double honors to them. That's great millstone, Hebrew Israelites, starting with Elder Apostle Tahar and on down according to the order, right? You got Elder Apostle Rakah, Elder Apostle Aramlab, Elder Apostle Gabar, Bishop Zachariah, and all the Akim, right? Amongst the various camps, right? So we watch the videos, right? We get edified, right? Through that we get fed through the Spirit, right? We study, right? We fact check everything, like Elder Pastor says, right? Always fact check. You always got to fact check, question everything, basically, right? So it says, so that's the Lord's banner over us is love, because we're going to receive not just the kingdom, but we received this glorious truth, right? And which not all are able to receive now, right? Which is comforting, right? Because these are things that, right, that we have lost. The Lord gave back to us, right, in the form of the Spirit, right? Salakia. Songs of Solomon 2 and 5, or Salakia. Let me read it. Ha Baya'anaya Al Baya Hayayan Wadagalwa Al Ya Ahaba. Samak, that word samak, it means to lean upon, right? That's why it says stay me, but that's basically it's saying sustain me with flagons, right? The word ashiyash, it just denotes something packaged, or right, you could say like a package, like it can be used in various terms. A package of wine, a package of fresh cut meats, right? Let's look at the Strong's H 809 concordance from Blue Letter Bible. It says something closely pressed together, right? Which, if you look at the other precepts, sometimes it'll denote a flagon of wine, or when King David hosted the Passover, right? He gave all of the nation of Israel a piece of choice cut meat. They all got a choice portion, and that's the word that you read here, right? I'm not going to go into all that. So sometimes it means cakes. Like, for example, you got a fruit cake, press it together. It's nice and pressed, packaged. You know, and that's still an Oriental custom that Moab or Ammon does. They got what's called bento boxes. Package everything nice and neat, and that's just one of their. That's I'm sure it's done in other Oriental nations, right? Then they wrap it up in like a towel, put a ribbon on it, you know, and but that's pretty much it for that. Just trying to go into right. So there's no right. Rapad means I believe it means a spread, or that might be requad. Yeah, to spread. It means to spread. So rapad, but here it's denoting comfort, right? So it says, sustain me with flat upon flagons, spread out unto me, as in, you got, what do you got? One example, you got these chocolates that got liquor in them. Liqueur, not liquor, liqueur. It's just like that you can give as a gift, right? And they're little bottles, the little chocolate bottles that got liqueur, actual alcohol, but it's liqueur. It's not actual. It's not strong drink, right? So an example, I would bring you a box and set them all out in front of you. That would be comforting. That's all it means. It says upon apples, because sick of love am I, which will read Samaknaya ba Ashiash tha Rapadnaya Bata Batapach Batapachium ba Tapachium Kaya Kalat Ahaba Anya. So to be comforted with, sustained with flagons, comforted with apples, right? That's the form. That's the another way to say the truth. Uh, it's another way to speak about the truth, right? Which the remnant, the elect, have received. Those that are called and chosen, that is. And that's why it says, "For I am sick of love." Right? An example of being sick of love means that you know, and that's in the curses. Jake's face, or thou shalt grope about noon and day, shall not find rest. That means Jake will seek the truth and other philosophies, but will not find it until it's given unto them in the form of right scriptures, right? Or the book of Isaiah, I believe there's a precept that might be chapter 28, which says, Jacob's face shall not wax pale, right? Meaning the Lord will not, the Lord hasn't abandoned Jacob. He's not going to leave Jacob abandoned forever, right? There was a time, which is now the acceptable time, when the Lord is giving this word and calling back the remnant of you Jakes, right? Salakia. Song of Solomon 2 and 5, verse 6. His left is under head, and his right embraces me, right? Let's look at that word for embrace. Habak. This is Strong's H2263, which is to clasp, to embrace, to fold, right? I believe sometimes it's used as to wrestle. Let's see. To embrace, to embrace, embrace. Let's look it up real quick. Oh, it's abak. That's what I was. And that word abak means a. Bak, the root word is bakwak, meaning to pour out or to empty out. Because that's what you do when you wrestle. You know, you're kind of using all your strength and right. You put in all your might into it. So read Shama Alawa, Takat, Labra Ashia, Yamyan Wa, Tahabak Naya. And that's just, it's not always that deep, super deep. That's just the Lord showing us love for Israel, right? And Song of Solomon 2 and 7, I charge you. The word Shabbai means to swear, right? Not swear as in cussing, but to swear an oath, right? Or to swear to commitment, right? Why does it say that? I charge you, ye daughters of Jerusalem, by the roes and by the hinds of the field, that you stir not up, nor awake my love till we please. Meaning, it's not in our hand. Neither we are supposed to force our hand for the Lord to come back, right? That's why there's that's why he said, I charge you. That charge is in various precepts, right? Yahweh Shai said, this world is not mine, right? Take not up the sword, right? Because those that live by the sword will die by the sword, so on and so forth, right? So let's see what else we got right here. So that's all that means, you know? It's not always rocket science. So it reads, Ha Shabai Thaya Atakam Banath Yerushalayim Bataza Ba'ath Wa Ba Ayalath Hashada Aim Tha Ayarwa Wa'aim Tha Ararwa Tha Ha'aba Ad Sha Tachapat Tachapataza Tachap Tachaptaza, which if you would roughly read it, it would roughly say, I cause to swear thou, O daughters of Jerusalem, upon the hosts, or by the, right, because Tazabah, or Salakia, Tazabiyah means rose, not host, Salakia. Or upon the hinds of the field I yell. It's a kind of ram or deer, ram of the field. If thou shalt stir up, and if thou shalt awake to my love, even till he pleases, right? Because that word chapataza means to delight or to be attentive to, attention, delight, right? And those type of connotations, desire. Salakia. So reads Hashabai, or Salakia, I already read it. Verse 8, the voice of my beloved, behold, is this, he, uh, is this coming, as in he that is coming, or he comes. The madalag means to leap, which is the right, the lag, to leap. Salakia, upon the mountains, skipping upon the hills, right? That's not like how you would picture it, like Esau pictures it in cartoons, prancing like a damn mo, and skipping, like they show in them Tom and Jerry cartoons, and they're whistling or going la di da di da. No, that's talking about, right, the chariot, right, Yahweh Shai's chariot, and how you see in those movies that Esau makes, Star Trek, where the ships hit hyper speed, literally leaping through time, right? And then he enters the planet, right, the Earth, and right, that's just talking about the dynamics and the speeds of the chariots, right? How they can go from one hill and just you know do a 380 and in point 0.2 seconds and whatnot, right? Because that's what you hear when you hear them chariots, right? Esau shows that in his movies, right? You hear the mechanics behind it, or what I'm talking about. So it says Qual, Tadia, Hana, Za, Ba'a, Madalag, Al, Haharium, Maquap, Taza, Al, Hagabayath. Salakia. Verse 9 says, He's likened unto my beloved, unto a roe or, or a hart. The word is ipar, a fawn, the young of a deer, which is also known as a hart. So ipar would mean young, ayal, hart, which is a type of ram. Behold, this, as in this is what he's doing. He standeth behind our wall. That word is kathal, which that word is, I'm going to go over that word, kathal, which is Strong's H 3796. A wall of a house, made of compacted clay, right? Which I was recently meditating on that, on the on that word. I wrote my notes, got my notes down, but it's not coming to me at the moment. Maybe I have to revisit a few of them, a few of the verses associated with this verse. Oh yeah, Thal, which you have places in the land of Israel called like Tel Aviv, which that word is in the Hebrew it's Thal, which just means like a mound or a small hill. That's all that it means. So ka meaning like unto or according unto, Thal, mound. It's another way to say wall, which is Hama. So let's go back. Oh, here's the Aramaic entry, which is same thing, wall, just means the same thing. Shakach, let's look at that word. To peep, to glance sharply, to gaze at. So it means to gaze at. So gazing, or like it says here, looking forth, looking from the windows. Halan is the word for window. With kal, the root is kalal, just means to puncture or something to that extent. Shun himself, matazaya taza, that just means like to shine or to sparkle, to glisten. It's another way to say it, to flourish, to be bright. That's why they call the Sizits Taya Taza, because it represents right, the glistening, the shining forth, flourishing like a flower, or yeah, you got certain flowers that got their stems are very thin and long, and then when you got the dew on them, they kind of glisten a little bit, right? So it says, shooting himself from the lattice means lattice, net, opening. Salakia. Harak, harak, to burn, to singe, right? But this is talking about bars, they got them jail bars in the cartoons, and they heat them up, and the cartoon character burns his hands, right? In that sense, you know, that's what it means. So it reads Dama, Dadia, La Tazabia, Awa, La Ipar, Ha Ayalium, Ana, Za, Imad, Akar, Katalnawa, Mashagyach, Man, Ha, Halnath, Tazayataza, Man, Ha, Harakium. An example is Jake, right? You know, in captivity, right? Like scripture say, the heathen uh, lord over us, which that's in the book of Daniel. I was talking about a specific time, but we are in a sense in captivity because we're subject to contracts, to obligations, right? So on and so forth, right? But this speaks about you can compare this to Ezekiel chapter 37, the valley of dry bones, right? Jake, you know, without that breath of life, without no understanding, right? That's what Ezekiel saw. saw Jake in a low state, right? Which is what you see here in America, Babylon the Great, right? You got Jake's and the projects and right getting into fights over Eve and right putting other Jakes to death over an Eve, things of that sort, right? Even in the northern tribes, right, South America, that's a lot of violence down there too, you know. So reads Tama, Tadia, Latazabia, Wa La Ipar, Ha Ayalyum, Ana, Za Imad, Akar. What's like? Yeah, I already read that. Verse 10, let's move on. Verse 10. He answered my beloved and said unto me, rise thou, my companion, my fair one, and go thou, right? Which is what that's our message, right? Come out of her, come out of the philosophies, and right, not in a literal sense, you know. You got some camps that take it in that literal sense, like IUIC, or not IUIC, but there's I believe it was one of them lesser known camps. Oh, Benai Israel, which they weren't an actual camp, but you know they claimed to be Israelites. They went to back to the land of Israel, and then eventually the small hats started deporting them out of Israel. But they don't believe in Yahweh Shai. They're like they follow the small hats um, philosophy, which is the Old Testament, not the New Testament. You know, they're still waiting on their Messiah. You know, so it reads Aina, Tadia, Wa Amar, Laya, Kwamya, Laka, Rayataya, Yapatia, Wa Lakya, Laka. Songs of Solomon 2 and 11 says, because behold, is past Satha, Sathwa, which is the word for winter. That word is winter, rainy season. And that word Sathwa, it just means vesture. Doesn't actually mean winter, but that's what happens as snow hits, covers the earth. You can look that up. I'm not going to go into all that. So it says the winter is past. The showers are changed, which the word halap just means to exchange. In this case, it says it's over. It has gone where it goes. It. Kayahana ha satyawa ibar ha gasham halap halak awa. What is that talking about? Right? That means that the dispensation is at a full, right? Because you have various dispensations of the gospel, right? You have during the time of Moses, the prophets, right? You have and the various captivities. You have New Testament, right? And you got in these latter days the servants of the Lord prophesying, right? You read about that in the book of Matthew, right? The king, uh, he sent some of his servants. They slayed and persecuted them. He sent another, and then at last he sent his only son. And he said they will listen to him, right? Three measures hidden in a meal, right? Because Jake was once in the land, given the laws, put in the land, then put into captivity, and then the message was spread, was preached, the gospel, which is salvation for the remnant, right? Those that would remain in the latter days in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 12. The flowers appear in the earth. The time of song uh, uh, is reached, right? And that's the spirit. Like I was just saying, right? Because I haven't necessarily recently went over these chapters. I was reading more so. I've been meditating on the latter chapters, right? And we're spiritual singing birds, right? Among many other spiritual things, right? It says, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land, right? That's basically the kingdom, right? Turtle's got a shell, and it's got different sections on it, patterns, right? Which is right. That pattern was given to John the Revelator in the kingdom or in the book of Revelation, right? He said the walls were made of so and so. There was layers of stones. There was gates, right? Ezekiel, right, described um, the appearance of the court and how the procession would be when Yahweh Shai would enter the courts and exiting the courts, how sacrifices would be offered, right? Because we're not going to go off, but the nations are going to go off. So they're going to, right? They're going to keep the law, so that means they got to bring sacrifices for sin, you know? Natazan, that means flower. That's the actual word for flower. So it reads Had, Natazanium, Nara'awa, Ba'rataza, Atha, Hazamyar, Ha Gayai, Gayai, Wakwal, Athawar, that means turtle, Hashamai, Ba'ratazanawa. Verse 13, the fig tree, I believe that word Hanat, it means to spice or embalm. I'm not going to go into it. The fig tree gives its spice, her green figs and vines, tender with the tender grape, some dar means a tender grape, quadrillet because some or shum, sometimes you read it as shum, just means spices. Dar means either generation circuit or in this case, like a, a plot of orchards that, let's say, they are blooming, right? So it's just a plot of them. It's just a section because they begin to blossom. The whole section, the whole thing hasn't blossomed yet. And that's what same thing happens with the vines, grapevines. You know, one section at a time, right? You got the first. That's why you got the first fruits, right? Which is talks about the remnant, right? That's in nature. Uh, given their odor or smell, because odor doesn't always mean odor. Just means like it's an old time way of saying smell. So it says, "Rise, thou, my companion, my fair one, and go thou." Right, and that's just talking about the truth. You know, having its order too. Right, particular men bring out particular things. Moses, the prophets, Paul the apostle. Later on in time, you got other men, right? Other accounts leading till today. Then it says, "Arise and come away," which that's talking about the deliverance, right? That's when actually the deliverance actually happens. So it reads, "Hatha na chanat chanata pagya wahagapanyam samdar nathanawa rayach kwamya laka rayataya yapathya walaki walakya laka." My dove. And the Chagwa, it says in the clefts, but that doesn't actually mean a cleft. Hag just means like a compass. You got the compass of the earth, right, and whatnot. Uh, this actually means, well, that means rock, which that means like a cragged rock, like an uneven textured rock. And the secret, which this word means just means to hide, in the hiding of the stairs, steep place, a step. Yeah, it just means like a step. I believe that word Dorada means like a paved area, you know. not like concrete, but like tiles. You know, it's another way to say stairs, right? Because that's what you would do with stairs. You would kind of stack brick on top of brick, right? Make your steps. So it says, "I will see into your countenance. I shall, I shall hear into your voice, because your voice is sweet," which is that word I rob, which that just means to mix or blend, because that's how you make sweet, like candy. You mix certain tarts and flavors. You know, you can make it mildly sweet. You can add some spice in it, give it like a sweet, spicy flavor, right? It says, and your countenance is desirable, right? We're in the clefts of the rocks in the sense that we are basically captives in America, Babylon the Great, right? We have no strength. We don't have any authority, right? We're subject on the payments, right? All we have is the word of the Lord and our word, like Scarface. All I have is my word, and but not in that sense, because you know, in a righteous way, we just have our word, and you know, which is the Lord's word. It's not our word, you know. The secret places of the stairs, right? Because this is compared unto a great mountain, right? That's why it's called Babylon the Great, right? It's a great, a destroying mountain, right? The hammer of the earth, right? Why does it say in the secret places of the stairs? Because the world, we don't have a PlayStation, right? The book of Psalms 83 speaks about the hidden ones, right? Because we don't know our nationality, or we didn't, right? They don't call us by our name, Israel. They call us brown, black, criminal, or delinquent, uh, and so on and so forth, right? That's how we're pictured. So we're in the secret places of the stairs, right? If you can receive that, right? It says, "Let me see thy countenance, let me hear thy voice, for sweet is thy voice, thy countenance is comely." Right? That's what the whole nation is going to see the Lord's countenance, right? They're going to hear His voice, right? Which that only represents, all that means is the kingdom. You know, they're going to see the kingdom. They're going to be destroyed 2/3. They're going to take the charagma, and right, but they're going to ultimately reap of those same benefits as well. In the end, So it reads Yanathia ba Hagya Hasalai Basathor Hama Tharaga Hara'ayanaya Atha Mara'ayaka Ha Shamyai Yanya Atha Kwalka Kaya Kwalka Arab Wama Ra'ayaka Na Awa. Verse 15. Take hold unto them, the foxes, small, that spoil, let's look at ball, just means to tighten, to twist, to bind. It's another way to say to spoil. The vines and our vines have tender grapes, right? Which is the remnant, are known as the grape of the cluster. The foxes are the nations. Esau, Edom, right? The Moabites, the Ammonites, Elamites, Hamites. I believe Yahushua called Herod a fox, right? But the main fox is Esau, right? Which the little foxes. You have the foxes, which are right. There's various heads of Esau, right? Russia, EU, NATO, etc., etc. The little foxes are the basically the other nations because they're not ruling. Esau is that spoil the vines, meaning those that oppress Jake, right? So basically, it's just a remnant asking the Lord to deliver us, starting with the remnant, and then ultimately the whole nation of Israel, right? So it says Chazwa Lanawa Shayalyam, Quatanyam, Machabalyam, Karamyam, Wa Karamyanawa, Samdar. Verse 16, my beloved is unto me, and I unto him. He feedeth among the lilies, right? This is basically Israel acknowledging the Lord before and after the kingdom. The remnant are acknowledging the Lord now, 2/3, right? They're going to have to acknowledge the Lord because they're going to come back in the kingdom and they're going to be in their right mind. So it reads Dadya, Laya, Wa Anya, Lawa, Haraya, Ba, Shashanyam. Verse 17, until the spreading out. So I get the wrong button. Until the spreading out of the day, and fleeth the shadows round about, being like thou, my beloved, like unto a roe, or like unto a hart, young hart, upon the mountains of Bethar, right? Basically, that's our message too. Our message is, to stay diligent, right? Stay prayed up, fast, watching to the day of Yahweh Bashim Yom Shai, right? And because we're in the spiritual nighttime, right? I believe that's in the book of Job, right? Spiritual morning time is when Jake gets the rulership, right? When the shadows flee, right? Meaning these demonic spirits that you got everywhere, because they're gonna see us in our angelic form, right? So it's gonna be like, you know, overpowering. That's why it says, right, turn, which means turn around about, which means repent, right? Be like like a roe, young heart, like it says in the book of Proverbs, right? To get thee away from the snare of the fowler, right? Which is these philosophies, Esau, right? The deception that you see going on, all the nonsense, and return to Yahweh Bashim El Shai, right? Which reads Ad Shai Yapach Hayawam Wanaswa Ha Tazalayim Sab Dama Laka Tadia La Tazabia Awa La Ipar Ha Ayalyum Al Har Bathar. Let's look at that word for Bathar. Excuse me. Means divided, dividing, a place in Palestine, which is Israel. You know, the Romans renamed the land of Israel Palestine out of disgust for their own brethren, the Jews. But that's pretty much it. This was Songs of Solomon, chapter 2. This brother Yatazadak, hero Israel. And as always, Lord willing, you were edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Bill Stone. Wam Yasha Allah, Abad Babal, Shalom.